counselor, deputy mayor, that's it anyways.
Oh,
Sherry's.
do you remember Steve sent that to council?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, go ahead and close it.
Steve will be here for the early meetings.
There's Joe.
Hi, Sherry.
I'll check the stream.
Thank you.
Just wait to hear back from Jack. That we're straight.
Yes. Okay. Oh, none of the directors are coming here right now?
No.
Okay.
Just give us one more.
We've only got 3 council. Oh, geez. Make a few more minutes.
Yeah, a few more minutes. Behind you, launch.
Oh, yeah, there's Council Bowman.
Yeah, second, no. Let's see if we. And what about our, do we have the Stratford folks?
We have, one.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Council Vander Dolan.
Which are you, the bucket? I think that's what it is.
We need 5, no?
Yep.
You know, this looks good, but surprised me where there's the highways, like they didn't put glass there. So I'm sitting there, someone walks by, what's,
That's what we're pushing them.
Or to even tape on there so that you don't let people put like arrows and tape.
I don't think they're planning.
No, but even just for staff.
Okay.
But they did say that if you can't be more than 6 feet, then
So they have 3 people. So it's
we don't have one yet.
No.
they had 3. So I said, what's the point? Well, I'll just team up.
or you move it.
I moved the glass because it was too much. Is it? Yeah, is Chris Loretto coming? Yeah, supposed to be?
Definitely supposed to be. I just sent him a ping. One moment.
So we're just waiting for either.
Or we'll get Rob.
Good evening, council. Just Rob's out in the hallway making a call to Councillor Verbeek. I see we have a quorum now, but we just want to make sure Councillor Verbeek is not experiencing any issues. Just we'll give her a few minutes before we get started here.
Okay, I just resent it to council as well, so you should be able to pick it up quicker that way. Okay.
Councillor Verbeek was at another meeting and with myself, and I just got in here, so she had a little farther to go than I do, so that may be the reason.
Go ahead, Rob.
I just spoke to Councillor Verbeek. She's dialing in momentarily.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Deputy Mayor, whenever you're ready, it appears like we have the 6 councillors that are here this evening.
Okay, that's super. Thank you, Mr. Auger. Call the meeting to order. And just first of all, I'll welcome everyone that's watching on YouTube this evening. Mayor Larry Snively is out of town, so I'll be chairing the meetings this evening. So I'm looking for any declarations of conflict of interest. And I don't see any. So looking for adoption of the published agenda, our special council meeting this evening, October the 19th, 2020. Moved by Councillor Guerin and supported by Councillor Bondi. Any questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. We'll go right into our public presentation, and I'm not quite sure, Mr. Loretto, if, oh, Mr. Nepsey. Yes, Mr. Nepsey.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through you. We've got the, as requested by council, we received the first phase of the service delivery review as far as the current status update last week. Through a discussion with council, we noted the consultant, we requested the consultant come back. We requested that council issue any comments with respect to the service delivery for them to digest and discuss tonight. Strategy Core is back tonight to address those comments, have a discussion, and then see where we go. So on that, I'll give it to Chris, the principal of Strategy Core.
Great, Chris. Thank you very much. And through you, Deputy Mayor, we wanted to take this opportunity to get any feedback, any additional feedback that members of council would have had on the current state presentation. We did receive email correspondence from Councillors Bondi and Guerin, and Councillor Bondi provided her feedback on the key elements of the service delivery review. I think, Councillor, it's fair to say generally supportive of the findings that we did have, and a number of which were taken into the next phase to work up into a more cost-benefit business case type of analysis. Councillor Guerin in his correspondence, which both councillors, I believe, shared it with their colleagues, was just noting some of the challenges and some of the tensions inherent in some of the challenges that we identified, and kind of the difficult, some of the difficult things that council will need to deal with in the future to try to manage service delivery and keep to a high level of quality while maintaining affordability of tax and tax rates and user fees for residents. So what we did take away from the feedback that we did receive is that we're generally on the right track, and we'll need to work up the specifics in some of the business cases to inform council as to whether or not it makes sense from a cost benefit perspective to pursue some of these things. And what we would appreciate as your consultant today, Deputy Mayor, is if anybody didn't have a chance to send anything in writing, if there are additional comments or concerns or questions that we can address, or things that you would ask us to keep an eye out for or pay particular attention to in the next phase of work.
So at this point, I guess I would ask if there's any councillor that would like to voice any concerns that they have at this point in time with what direction we're going in. Councillor Bowman?
Just a comment, and I trust you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes.
Okay. You, I think, alluded earlier in your presentation that the province is putting funds forward to basically fund this type of exercise, and obviously they're wanting to do that so they can move forward in their next phase of whatever they're going to fund. And if we do this and get this portion in order, I think makes it very much more palatable for them to issue monies to do certain works that fall into their, what their flavor of the day is, so to speak. So, and as long as you've done your homework ahead of time, you tend to get that funding. Where you don't want to be is on the outside looking in. And I think this is what the province is leaning towards. Then, whether we are 100% in agreement with it, we still should follow in line, because if we don't, those monies don't come to us. So that's sort of my thoughts. And moving forward, I mean, it's a work in progress, and it'll have adjustments as we move forward. But if we do the exercise and have it on the board or as a document moving forward, I think it's very helpful. Thank you.
You gotta unmute yourself, Rich.
Councillor Bowman, are you looking to speak again? No, okay. Councillor Vander, Dolan.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor Meloche. I actually wasn't generally in support of this report or its findings. I sent my response quite late, but I cut to the chase. I was disappointed in it. This was sold to us as an exercise in finding efficiencies and improved service delivery. And although it seems to have looked for a lot of improved service delivery, it seems that rather than looking for efficiencies, it was mainly explaining a wish list of what staff seemed to want. And I think it overlooked what actual residents are looking for and hoping that we find for them. I made a number of suggestions to the group, and only one of them turned up in the report, and that was about fire department efficiencies. And apparently, as I said months ago, maybe we should look at fire department efficiencies before we build Station 2, but we got the report too late, so that's water under the bridge, that's gone. And now we can only find efficiencies in the south half of the town. There's a few other issues there. That's in my little statement there. But I think this is a missed opportunity. I think this is more about expanding facilities and expanding stuff and expanding staff rather than finding efficiencies, and that's too bad. Thanks.
Deputy Mayor, if I just may clarify, just in case it's not clear.
Go ahead, Chris.
This is a current state report, and we've identified a number of improvement opportunities. So what we're going to do particularly with those 8 that we enumerated last week, is take them into the next phase. And that's where we're going to be doing the detailed business case analysis to figure out what the efficiencies are. And we look at efficiencies both in terms of what we call dark green dollars and light green dollars. The dark green dollars are savings to the bottom line, monies that can be freed up to be redeployed elsewhere or to take some pressure off rates and fees. The light green dollars are those efficiency improvements. Looking at the number of clerks, can we generalize that function? Can we make sure that capacity is more evenly distributed so that work that isn't getting done now is getting done? Looking at asset management efficiency as a way of not only doing better risk management around your capital assets, but are there savings to be found in doing that more efficiently as well? So it is the next phase, Councillor Vander Dolan, where we will be coming back with those business cases to show you what the cost benefit of pursuing these improvement opportunities are. And it's at that stage that you would be able to make a decision as to whether or not the cost benefit is enough for council to determine that it wants to proceed with some of these recommendations. So the current state was really to say, here's how we understand things. Here's where we see, here's where we think the opportunity, the improvement opportunities lie. Let's take what we perceive to be as some of the higher, potentially the higher value opportunities, and work those up in a business case format to bring back to administration and council for their consideration. Just so it's clear about what this report is and what it isn't. It's not the final report, and it's meant to say, here's where we think they are directionally. Let's work those up.
Thank you, Chris. Councillor Bondi?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Malash. I went back and I rewatched our last meeting with the consultants, and I just want to, as you understand, Chris, I just want to, there was a comment that you made that with the stick, reference being made about the province having a stick. So in terms of further amalgamation, right? Like if we comply with the recommendations in the report, we'll be on the province's good list. And then, if the province ever does want to amalgamate again, maybe we can bypass that by being on. I want you to elaborate that a little bit more, because, we've amalgamated before, we've amalgamated school boards, and the residents down here, like we want to know exactly kind of what that means, because you yourself may have more of a pulse on the heartbeat in the direction that that's going. I think that's the most concerning thing I have as a counselor here, right? I've thoroughly read the report now. I've thoroughly made comments, right? I believe internal record management is probably one of the things that I'm struggling with as a counselor. Our clerk's office just sent out a copy of all of the resolutions, and I've been going through those, and I've already found like the resolution that council didn't pass on a reports tracking mechanism. In the resolutions, it says that 8 were in favor. So there's not, we need a more thorough tracking system internally is my biggest thing that we need. But I don't, some of the shared services, let's, I guess, have those conversations, but what is to become of us in the future is my. So
it's an excellent question. And I'm not saying amalgamation is going to happen, but it wouldn't, you wouldn't have to strain yourself to say they could happen in the next few years. And let's remember where this municipal modernization money came from. So, the government did commission a review by Michael Fenn and Rod Sealing on looking at, I believe it was 8 regional governments, and looking 8 regions, and looking at doing a review whether or not they were the most, whether or not they were efficient, and whether or not there were further efficiencies to be held, and whether or not some restructuring would need to happen. I can tell you, because we track these things closely, there wasn't the political appetite at the time to pursue whatever was in that report, and we don't know what was in that report, but we can only assume there was some recommendation around restructuring, and the government decided to say, well, instead of us saying how you should be operating, we're going to make this municipal modernization money available on an application basis for municipalities to figure out for themselves how they're going to increase the efficiency of their operation. And you'll recall that the Premier and the government was very heavy on, well, if we're finding 4 cents on the dollar here at the province, we're expecting our broader public sector partners, including municipalities, to do the same. So when I say this money doesn't come free, it's based on that genesis of where this pot of money came from. They are looking for municipalities to use this money to figure out a way they can make their operations more efficient. And what I would say is those that take advantage of that opportunity through these studies, and it doesn't mean you have to adopt everything, but are you those municipalities that demonstrated that they used the money, they found some opportunities and they pursued those initiatives, I would argue would be in a better position to avoid any forced restructuring that may come down the pipe. And just given, even the fiscal situation before COVID wasn't great, it's disastrous now coming out of COVID. I can see restructuring pressures coming back on the sector, not necessarily in the next couple of years, but certainly next 4 to 6 years. Having taken this opportunity, this moment in time to do things to show that the money was put to good use and if further efficiencies were made and we're running as efficiently as we can, and you don't need amalgamation to do anything else. I think those municipalities will be in a better spot when those pressures inevitably come. And as you know, those pressures are cyclical. They come around every 20 years or so. The clock is about to hit that 20-year mark since or it's a little past the 20-year mark since the last set of major restructurings.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else for comments? Councillor Verbeek.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a quick comment. I'm just receiving now Councillor Vander Dolan's remarks, and I'm reading through them, and I have to say, out of the hop, I'm agreeing with a lot that he's had to say so far. I spent a lot of time talking to Councillor Bondi, as it was very evident to most of you that she spent countless hours pouring through these since the first report came, and then making really detailed recommendations. Thank goodness she's a veteran counselor, so some of the things that were my concerns, she actually voiced, but so many more that she was able to, find and pick out, and you've got all that, right?
Yes.
But it's very clear, and I noticed that Councillor Vander Dolan acknowledged this, and a couple of councillors I spoke to see that there's a lot from administration in the report. Some of us found some of our remarks didn't filter through. That's okay. But now can we feel confident that the stuff you're receiving right now from council is going to filter into the report as strongly as the stuff from administration?
Yes, and what I'll say in addition to it, and that's why we wanted to have this additional conversation with you, is that the report is ours, and we build into our process a high degree of engagement, including with staff, and by virtue of numbers and on the everyday experience, we did workshops with staff, we did interviews with senior management. And where we heard things and we could validate them, or at least say we've heard it enough that we should probably take a little bit closer look at this in the next phase of work. We noted that. So we try to be fair and balanced in making sure that the various perspectives that we gather through the process are reflected in the report. The additional input and feedback that is provided through this and through the emails, and I'll look at Councillor Vander Dolan's email this evening. That will be factored into our next round, and the next round is where really the rubber will hit the road in terms of do these things make sense? Is there a cost benefit case to be put forward to pursue these, and will these at the end of the day make the municipality more efficient in the way that it delivers its services?
Thank you, Councillor Verbeek, and thank you, Chris, as well for the follow-up. One of the things that I noticed in the report, I would have thought there would have been more items that would have been perhaps try to be centralized to county services.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I know there was a lot said about trying to amalgamate services with the southern half of the community, southern half of the county, but I'm just wondering if there's any potential for us to move in the direction where the whole county is, like for instance, along the lines of planning or along the lines of there's a number of services that you could probably amalgamate to that level. Then everybody is, the whole area is, being serviced by that particular amalgamation.
Yeah, it's a great question, Deputy Mayor, and I think as council will recall, when we did our interviews with you, that was one of our questions, and the particular question around was your perception around the political appetite of the county to take on more services. In doing this here in Amherstburg and Kingsville and Leamington, I've got to say there seems to be some appetite at the local level to do more with each other. There didn't seem to be a sense that there is the political will at the county to take on more than it already has. And so the challenge in all of these things is having a willing dance partner to do some of these things. But, when we look at the shared services analysis in the next phase, one of the options we'll look at is, does it make sense for 2 or 3 or 4 municipalities to get together and try to do this on their own? Or is one option for you to go to the county and say, we think this is, perhaps better done at the county level on behalf of all the local municipal partners in Essex County. So we will look at that. The challenge in any shared services is whether or not you have willing dance partners to make that happen. And when we were talking to folks to try to get a sense of the political will around the county council table, nobody said that there have been a lot of discussions about the county looking to do more or to take on more on behalf of the local partners.
Well, if you're talking to administration, that's maybe at the county level, that may be a different story than if you were to talk to the actual council team that's going to make the decision that we would go in that route. And I think that if you're talking to most of the mayors and deputy mayors across the county, that you'd find that something, for instance, like purchasing would be of an interest perhaps to expand on at the county level, because there's commonality in a lot of the purchases that we make across the county at the municipal level that could be handled at the county level, and maybe larger bids, or one of the things I can think of is maybe insurance. Put a bid together for the entire county and all municipalities combined, and you have a lot more purchasing power. For instance, there's a lot of municipalities that have had a hard time trying to get insurance, period. And I think that's going to become more common. We should be looking at trying to get the best bang we can with a larger bid going out to these companies.
I agree 100% with you. And,
same with road services, road services, and so on.
Or winter control contracts, whole bunch
winter
of things.
Control contracts, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the other challenging things, and this, I hear your point on council may have a different view than the administration at the county, is that we are doing these service delivery reviews kind of municipality by municipality. What would be helpful is if the county did its own, particularly looking at kind of intermunicipal opportunities, or opportunities for them to think through what new capacity they might be able to bring on board for the local municipal partners in the county as well.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things I just wanted to mention was that each municipality kind of looks at their municipality a little bit differently as far as how they handle the amalgamation of the community, of the municipality itself.
Yeah.
Some are more of a melting pot, where some of our municipalities, such as Essex, put a little bit more into recognizing that we've got 4 urban centers, whether they be minor urban centers or major urban centers. We recognize the need to look at each one of these urban centers separately, whereas there's some communities that it's more of a melting pot.
Yeah.
And that's something to keep in mind too when we're looking at different services that we may want to amalgamate with another community.
Yep. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have to say. And I'm looking to see if there's anyone else. Chris Nepsey, did you have any maybe final comment that you wanted to make?
No, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I think council covered, I guess, where they see it right now. I do think, as Chris explained, the other Chris explained, then the next phase, I think, will be, where you noted more where the rubber meets the road and get into a bit of the nitty gritty on those savings, realized savings, potential savings, and what that means specifically for the town on some of these opportunities. So, no, I've got nothing else.
Okay, that's fantastic. Anyone else for a final throw that they thought of at the last minute? Okay, I'm going to thank Chris and teammates that came out tonight to listen and present again. Thank you for taking the time, and same with our management that are all here tonight listening. So I need a motion to accept the presentation entitled Town of Essex Service Delivery Review, moved by Councillor Vander Dolan and supported by Councillor Bowman. Any questions? I'm going to all in favor. And that's carried. Next, looking for adjournment. Councillor Guerin and Councillor Bowman. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll meet again at 5 o'clock. Again, thanks to Chris and his team for coming out this evening.
Great.
Councillor
Thanks
Bowman.
thanks for having us. Take care.
Councillor Bowman, before we sign off, did you have something you wanted to say? I think he was just saying goodbye.
He unvideoed himself.
Okay.
Can you hear us or?
So we'll meet again at 5 then.